Ladies and gentlemen, the Dragon Age, the Veilguard cope is real. And you have people that are just discarding the last vestiges of whatever credibility they may have had in order to defend this game. And the goalpost moving is constant and ongoing as this game continues to nosedive. And what I think this is a case of the gaming media apparatus deciding it doesn't matter if this game is good or bad. We cannot allow gamers to get a win. We must defend this game at all costs. And so what I'm going to show you right now is a serious non-satirical post from this person named Destin. Now, this comment right here, I want you to read it with me. Okay, it's the first weekend and concurrents for Dragon Age the Veilguard are up 82k peak at the moment. I don't see how y'all can look at this, compare it to outliers that broke records, and call it an L. Not every game needs to make all the money. Some of the money is pretty good too. This is the most massively delusional thing I've seen to date. Even if this game got 400,000 live concurrent players, it still would be a loss. I'd still say it's a failure. Even if it got 500,000, and I'll explain why, and we'll go into other numbers in a moment. But this is a 10-year production cycle game from a major studio, or once was a major studio, from an IP that people love, that has a legacy, that has a pedigree. This game should not be bringing in numbers this pathetic. And do you notice the terminology? Not every game needs to make all the money. Do you understand that this game needs to be a win because BioWare has had loss after loss after loss? This game cannot be just fine. And it's not even just fine, but it can't be just fine. This game has to be a grand slam. This has to be a game that puts BioWare back on the map and puts confidence back in the brand. Did they do any of that? No. And there's a barometer that nobody's really talking about. And I know that some people will say, well, this is, sort of anecdotal and subjective. But I've noticed that when a game is really popular and it's picking up traction, a lot of times streamers will play the game, especially VTubers. How deep a game has infiltrated the cultural, gameplay conversation can be determined by VTubers. And I know this is going to be, like a head scratcher for some people, but if a game is really, really popular, everyone on Twitch in the VTuber space will play the game. If a game is not popular, it's sort of popular, some of them will. And if a game is not popular, they won't touch it, or maybe some of them will, like a few, like one or two, but they'll just skip it entirely. And right now, the VTubing community is playing Monster Hunter Wilds. So they have bypassed Dragon Age the Veilguard completely. And it's a barometer. Because you look at these numbers, look at the numbers here. 30,000 people right now on a Sunday of opening weekend. 30,000 people that are playing and watching this game. World of Warcraft is at 69,000. Now, you could say, well, look at the beta for... This is a beta, by the way. Monster Hunter Wilds beta is getting 20.3 thousand views. 20.3 thousand for a beta versus a 10-year production cycle, potentially $100 million game. I mean, what do you even say? How do you even respond when people are this delusional and this die hard into it because they don't want you to have a win? They are desperate for you not to have a win. And when you set yourself up against gamers, you're always going to lose. because gamers are your core audience if you're in the gaming industry space, whether you're a streamer or a content creator. Gamers are your main audience. And so when you put yourself in direct contrast to them and you say, this is a zero sum game, when gamers win, I lose, well, guess what? You're going to lose. This is something that games journalists have learned over the last 10 years. I don't know if you remember, but there were a bunch of articles that said gamers are over. Leigh Alexander, I don't know if you remember that name, but she was part of the anti-Gamergate crowd. A lot of them were saying gamers don't have to be your audience anymore. And they went on this big push about how you can just disregard gamers. Gamer culture is toxic and misogynist and all these problematic things. And it went on for years. Angry Joe did this for a while. I don't know if any of you remember, but Angry Joe has been involved in quite a few controversies because Angry Joe's default is to come out on the side of wokeness and corporations and, that sort of left-wing propaganda at the expense of gamers. This is his default, and he does it over and over and over, and then he has to come out and basically retract and pull back and make excuses and apologize in certain cases. He did this with Battlefield 5, and I'm using this as an example because oftentimes these people will put themselves at odds with the gaming community because they want to view you as lower than themselves. They want to talk down to you. They want to condescend to you. They want to treat you like you're garbage. They want to feel like they're special because you have given them a platform. By the very nature of you being involved in a particular, hobby, which is gaming, you have given them money and attention. You put eyeballs on them and dollars in their wallet. Now, the thing that separates you from them is really not that much. So they have to create this artificial barrier that says, I'm better than you, I'm more moral than you, I'm more intelligent than you. This is why Angry Joe got absolutely lambasted when he said Donald Trump supporters are idiots. Donald Trump supporters are low IQ, going on this rant because he has to pretend that he's morally and intellectually superior. And this is what is clear with all of these people. They get a little bit of money, they get a little bit of clout, and they go off the rails. And here's the reality. I actually commented to this. I said, are you serious? This is a massive L. A 10-year development cycle AAA game with a once legendary studio behind it and an IP that people love. 300,000K opening weekend would have been embarrassing. This cope is astonishing. It's a woke pile of garbage that was supposed to revive BioWare. But the cope is that every step towards failure, these people have to jump backwards and say, well, the sales numbers are, they don't have to be great. How much money do you estimate 10 years of development cost? How much on an average of 10 years worth of 350 people's salaries? Given that EA bought BioWare in 2007 for $775 million then, do you think EA would be happy with just servicing this many people? Why did IGN acknowledge this could kill the entire game series? If it was such a rousing success, why did they say that? Why do you think BioWare hasn't made a post like, woo, 100 million copies sold day one like everyone else normally does? Why do you ignore this is an established IP that had an established tone and not some indie game? By indie metrics, this is a success, not by AAA studio standards. I talked about this on my personal channel. You made up a bunch of numbers, went with what you felt, didn't take into account marketing, Steam cut, or how EA subscription thing works. And you don't acknowledge this is a once iconic studio working on a well-established IP. Holy shit. To also claim people just wanted to arbitrarily fail was so disingenuous. They marketed the game on hair physics, on inclusive character creator, which it is not. I can't even make my body in the game, and I represent maybe the bottom 5% of America. The average woman at 5'4" and 170 pounds cannot make her body. Even my breasts, which are at an A cup, are larger than, ooh, massive L. I'm just kidding. Are larger than what can be made. Why is this important? They market it as inclusive. Most women, especially in their target demographic, have bodies larger than mine. I am underweight. Wait, 170 pounds is underweight? Oh, she's talking about the average. On top of that, what they did show was clunky and embarrassing for 10 years of development and completely changed the tone. Once we learned more, the gameplay is subpar and they removed conflict from the game. The puzzles are an insult to the player base, and 7 hours into the game still feels like a tutorial. This is probably one of the most based and honest reviews I've seen thus far. So congratulations, Savvy. This is great. They have made bad choice after bad choice. No gamer wants a game to fail. No, this is very true, and I've reiterated this. I want the game to do well. And why do I want the game to do well? Well, because I want more games like it. I want more Dragon Age games. But I want games that are Dragon Age, and I don't want whatever this is. I don't want woke abomination politics that pander to degenerate low IQ freaks on the internet. I don't want a game that is being defended by the gaming press. I would much rather a game like Black Myth Wukong that they tried to destroy and is an absolute banger, 10 out of 10. I'd take that every day of the week, every time. I'd take a game that the gaming press despises, like Stellar Blade. I'll take that game every day of the week over this. Because the gaming press, if they love it, you can be sure that you're going to hate it more often than not. Longtime fans have to watch losers butcher their favorite series. But it won't matter because their jobs aren't on the line and they'll get over it eventually. BioWare has had several expensive failures as well, so they needed this to fly, and it is barely gliding. On top of that, do you really think it's a mark of confidence when the head guy for Mass Effect has to come out and say they won't lose their mature tone? That they won't change their game the way the Dragon Age team changed theirs? Please don't pull a Jason Dingleberry and say something silly about owning chuds, despite him not liking the game at all. Yeah, that was really embarrassing. She's talking about Jason Schreier, or Jason, whatever the hell his name is, Jason Schreier, whatever. Yeah, he basically, oh, I don't like the game, but I want to own the chuds. What a piece of garbage. This is tragic and not the BioWare that made the original Neverwinter, the original Dragon Age, the original Mass Effect, and that's really sad. This is a really, really good post, and I can only imagine the sort of low IQ drivel that this guy is going to come out with in response to that. I'm not trying to own anyone, just talking about the topic. I don't think this is a Concord situation. That game was clearly in trouble. And some of the other criticisms you have aren't really what I'm driving into. Yeah, she basically talked about the problems with the game, and you're talking about, like, well, technically, it's a success because it's like, dude, the game is a failure. I'm strictly keeping it about the sales. The sales, I mean, okay, so what would you consider to be successful for a 10-year development cycle AAA game for BioWare and Dragon Age, which, two of the biggest names in gaming? What do you think that this should do? Should it be able to surpass a game like Black Myth Wukong, which is a studio which is its first venture out and its first game? Do you think that it should be able to do sales numbers like that? I think it should. So, but I don't think it's a gigantic success. To me, it looks like it'll do fine. Do you understand? Well, first of all, it doing fine is a kiss of death for BioWare. BioWare needs a smash hit. After the failure of Andromeda and Anthem, and I would say Inquisition, and I'd say Mass Effect 3, Like, BioWare has not had a particularly good run of things since about before 2013. I hope BioWare looks at other critiques of the game and takes them to heart. No, they won't. They're banning people on the subreddit. It's just there is no authenticity in this guy and what he's saying. He is trying to play defense for BioWare, like a lot of these people are, because they just can't handle the fact that this game can't even reach 100K. Do you understand? 100K would be dismal. But the fact is, it can't even. It can't even reach 100K on Steam. I mean, just unbelievable. 89,418 is the peak. 24 hours. All time, same thing. All time peak. Players right now, 86,000. For a 10-year AAA game, this is abysmal. And if you want to know why, if you'd like to be reminded as to why, I can show you. And I'd be happy to show you. I'd be happy to go over this. Dragon Age, the Veilguard dialogue. I mean, you just go through this trend, and it's just. Let's see.
Here, vegetables.
You really just served somebody vegetables? So in addition, you're a goddamn vegetarian? Oof.
So, non-binary.
Gross.
What does that mean?
Ew.
I have big fingers. That means I don't feel like a man or a woman. If you are neither a man nor a woman, then what are you? I'm a dragon slayer. Non-binary. I just said. And
like, its face is ugly. Everything about it is ugly. Ugh, God.
I'm going to use they instead of she from now on. If this is because I have criticized your dress or your manner, it isn't.
It isn't. God, get. Man. And the thing is, these creatures that they put in the game are so unlikable. Physically, they're unlikable. What they say, how they act, they're so unrelatable. And they're just gross. And they're mean. And they're nasty. And they're vindictive. And they're creepy. And they're weird. And they don't resonate at all.
Under the cube, the term for one whose gender does not match the one given to them at birth was a cuniflock. Perhaps you are like that. Why do you have to keep picking at it? Why can't you just be happy for Evitosh, Chakra to Emperor? So I'm supposed to struggle with who I am? Even if I don't feel like I fit, even if I feel wrong? No, you misunderstood. Then say it better.
God, what an obnoxious piece of garbage. God. So, so I think this is actually a perfect encapsulation. So the mother is trying to understand what this disgusting freak is, espousing. Because it's nonsense. It makes no sense. It makes no sense to anyone, even this person's mother. But this freak is out there, like, you say it better. Let me tell you something. The appropriate response in this situation is to tell this thing to go fuck off. That is the appropriate response. Because I don't care. You're not special. You're not unique. You don't have some kind of monopoly on whatever it is that you think you're feeling. You get to treat other people this way. And oh, my suffering is so special. No, no, it's not. And you're not suffering. It's a delusion. It's a self delusion. And you are putting other people out by living this fantasy. It's not your true self, by the way. It's oh, this is who I really. No, it's not. No, it's a lie. You want to feel special, and you don't have anything else to fall back on. So you play this game, and then you get indignant and expect people to treat you a certain way that you demand. The answer to that is absolutely fucking not. You no, I will treat you in any way that I choose when you're at this point. Oh, I'll be cordial. Like if somebody's trans or something, and they approach me in person, I'll be, they'll be like, hey, like, hello, cordial. You don't be rude or disrespectful. That's not the point. But if you, but if I'm like having a conversation with somebody who's trans and they're acting in the way that this thing is, no, no, sorry. All bets are off. I will match your energy. Believe me.
I never enough for you.
She's literally like asking her, like, what does it mean to be this? What is asking questions? Oh, why can't you just accept the nonsense and delusion that I'm saying? God, this dialogue is so.
I will go.
And now she leaves, as she should. Let this freak wallow in their own misery.
Thank you for inviting me to your home. Slayer. So, Bunny, I'm a dragon slayer. So, does the fire feel like a part of you? Or I don't know, like something else inside you? No, it has to be me. Has to? What if it's not? How? Sometimes the stone magic feels like something else in me. It's me, but it's not me, you know? So, what's this about? I got you a thing. Oh, Tosh. I get, but did it really have? Hey, who ate the last bread and cheese wand? Oh no, I'm sorry. I guess I thought, well, I don't know what. It's fine. No, no. They're your favorite.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Sorry, some more. That fix it.
Oh god.
3.
Oh god.
And
Answer something bad. Like to come with them. Teach about the weather. If you have felt a driving wind, you know it has weight. On a calm, sunny day, the air rests, stewing like the Ravani do.
yeah, Ravani wear their stories.
She would like it.
She'd be so pissed.
She would.
Anyway, yeah, the dialogue in this is absolutely abysmal. The quests, the puzzles are childish at best. It's coming from a place of pure condescension. They think less of you. They don't think you're very intelligent. They want this game to pander to kids, people who are younger, so that's why they try to keep the dialogue as simple as possible. But it doesn't work. It's just patronizing. It's embarrassing. It's pathetic. It's low IQ. It's low value, just like the people that are defending it. And at the end of the day, these people have only themselves to blame when they lose their job. Because you had every opportunity to make something good. You had people cheering for you, rooting for you, and instead you took that and pissed it down the drain to pander it to a bunch of freaks because you're genuinely too stupid to understand that gamers do not want anything to do with the LGBT community. They don't want that sort of propaganda. They don't want that sort of rhetoric. They don't want any of that in their game. They just want an authentic experience that has to do with a heteronormative adventure where the guy is saving the princess, and some people may get irritated at me for saying that, but it is the God's honest truth. If you do give them the ability to play as a woman, they want to be able to customize it and have the character look however they want. Tits as big as they want, hips as big as they want, ass as big as they want, attractive is all can be. They don't want mannish brute arms. They want male and female. Two very distinct categories. Not something in between where the woman has a man jaw and big arms. No, they want something very clearly binary. And when you don't give it to them, they're going to look elsewhere. And the only thing that you're going to have to show for all of your quote unquote hard work over the years is a big gaping hole where the profits should be. Ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. See you next time.